Hey Brickmaniacs, welcome back to another Designer's Desk episode. I'm here with Cody, and we're going to go over the Flying Tigers bundle that was released a month ago now or so?
Yeah, probably pretty close to that.
Yeah, about a month ago. Anyway, so now the individual planes are going to be available, super limited, but they're going to be available for separate purchase. So here we have a P40B Warhawk and an A6 M20.
Right.
Cool.
Yeah, so we held only a few. So
right.
There's not going to be a lot available.
The bundle was popular.
Yeah, the bundle was very popular. So there will be, a few available upon release. So you can buy them individually instead of part of the bundle. Sort of the plan with that. But I guess going into a little bit of history, or at least in terms of Brickmania history, you've seen both of these airplanes before. I did the P40, I remember what?
N?
I think it was the N Warhawk. And so that was a later war variant. This is now the B model, which is earlier war variant.
Very early in the Flying Tigers.
Right, exactly. As well as the Zero. We had the green one that was, I think it was the A6 M5. We did last year, a couple years ago, and now it's the white version, it's the M2. So really they don't change a whole lot in appearance. There are some things that I noted were different, like the exhaust doesn't really stick out of the sides on the A6 M2 anymore.
Okay.
Or previously, that was pretty prominent on the A5 that I saw. I didn't see it really as a feature on the A2, the earlier models.
Yeah, you can tell it's just kind of all rounded.
So we had the printed element before that was on the curved slope.
Right.
That's no longer a thing. So we shifted some of the printing around just to include some other printed elements that were included in the main one we did last year. So instead of these being printed on top, because they're not all one solid piece anymore.
Well, and that piece in that green is like non-existent.
And that's what was limiting to the original. So we figured, well, we'll make this the white version. I know in historical accuracy it would be a very, very light gray. But I think it reads more as white than it does light gray, because building it in light gray, it's too dark.
Sure.
So I think going with a white color.
And this is light
more
gray.
Realistic.
This is light gray on the nose here, right?
That is.
Yeah. So you can tell just initially that white. Plus that's what I mean. The signature look at that is that those round nose really pop.
And everyone thinks it's white. So, but for you historians out there who actually really know. I'm aware of what I've done. I made a conscious decision to make it white. So there's printed elements on the propeller, just some red stripes, and we printed on the sides of the fuselage.
Yeah, this cross element printing looks awesome.
The meatball.
The meatball.
The meatball. The target. The Japanese rising sun. And same printed figure as the last one too, so if you missed out on getting the A5 model we did, that's not going to come back in stock just because we can't restock it with those rare elements. So you still get the same figure in this kit. And so we're trying to go on for earlier war. This you might have seen on Pearl Harbor, that version of the airplane. So there's two 7.7 millimeter machine guns above the cowling that they're recessed, they're hardly visible, so it's just illustrated there by a couple curved slope deals. They're sort of there.
We're talking about like right here?
Above the engine cowling would be right here.
Right here, okay.
So they're not really represented, and I didn't really represent them in the other model as well, because you really have to look to be able to see those. But there's also two 20 millimeter cannons under each wing that you can see sticking out there. So there's retractable landing gear on the model, pretty straightforward, and it's all white all the way around. So
sweet.
It really makes those roundels pop. Should be a fun build.
It's got a super classic look to it. I mean, you can...
Right.
It's very iconic.
It is very iconic, especially for fans of Hollywood.
Right, exactly.
Who don't know that it's actually really light gray. So I guess that's pretty much sums up that model. There's some detail cockpit elements that were, again, part of the original. I guess I'll get into the P40B a little bit.
Cool.
Again, this is early war model. There is a distinct change in the nose over time on the Warhawks. So the N model I made had a much larger intake underneath the engine, and the engine was higher up. So I had to lower where the propeller is, and also have more of a curvature to how the engine points down. It curves down more.
Oh, sure.
So
yeah, I see what you're saying.
It does change the shape of it quite a bit. There's a really iconic photo of the Flying Tigers. That is actually our action shot.
Okay.
Take a look at
Oh,
our
yeah,
action
yeah,
shot.
yeah,
So
right. Yep.
It's a representation of that, and that's really where you see the distinct differences from the earlier model to the later model. That scoop underneath changes size, but more really it's just the engine being lowered.
So this is quite significantly different, especially in the nose, from the end model that we released previously.
Yep.
Okay.
Especially in the nose and armament-wise. So there's two 50 caliber machine guns above the engine, and then two 30 caliber machine guns in the wing roots. As opposed to later war versions had 650 caliber machine guns in the wings.
Right. Okay.
So, and that's just advancements in war. I know the Spitfire also had 303 machine guns in the wings, and then they all get upgraded to have 20 millimeters or 50 caliber machine guns, and the Americans did the same thing. Every country pretty much upgraded their guns to be not so small.
Yeah, makes sense.
Pack more of a punch. So I guess in terms of the planes and how they fight, the Zero is very iconic, and it's a major adversary because it's so lightweight and very maneuverable. It's a really hard target to hit. Whereas the P-40 is probably more rugged and can carry more of a bomb load, so it is a pretty versatile aircraft. So they're quite different as far as performance-wise, but they fill gaps that other ones don't. There's always a trade-off between whatever aircraft you make. But the Flying Tigers were really successful against the Japanese Zero.
Despite being seriously outmanned, outgunned, and undersupplied.
Exactly. So we did include, I forgot to bring a sticker sheet out, but we did include sticker options. So if you don't want the Flying Tigers, you still get the shark mouth and the eyes, because those are actually printed elements in this model. All except for right here.
Which that's really cool.
That's one
how
sticker.
they blend.
So it's mostly a puzzle that you're putting together. The teeth on the side, the eyeball, it all is incorporated in printed elements.
God, that's cool.
And we just have the one place where you couldn't really justify printing on so many surfaces right there. So that one
Keep
sticker.
the cost down too, I suppose.
Well, sure, and it's just trying to line up all that printing is really difficult across this many pieces. So I really updated the intake underneath the airplane. It's a pretty subtle curve to it, smaller mouth, which was actually more difficult to build in this version than in the end model that I made, just because the end model is so much larger. There's always more you can do with that, but having this be reduced was a bit difficult. But it's really a fun connection that you'll have to build it to find out my secret. And it's so subtle. It's kind of like, oh, is it even worth doing it? But I think it was worth doing.
Sure.
Just to get that real subtle curvature to it. So there's printed stickers to look like the Flying Tigers or the Hell's Angels. Sticker there, Flying Tiger there, number on the back, and you can also have American markings. Stars and bars is the other option if you don't want the Flying Tigers, but who wouldn't? So
yeah.
Updated figure on this one. Really, only the face is new.
Both of them are kind of like solid, iconic Brickmania pilot figures.
Right.
So
They're
complete.
both flesh. They're not yellow figures anymore. So they're actually our custom printed heads. Yeah, same basic design overall, except I did strengthen the landing gear. Before it was a two-stud connection, which was fine in the prototype, but I did get some feedback from customers saying that it was too weak with a two-stud connection.
Okay.
And that's really just due to the age of the parts. If you have your parts for several months or up to a year, they soak up more moisture, they get stronger. The stud connections get stronger. So that's one thing that we always try to keep in mind is stud clutch on brand new kits is going to be
different,
weaker.
Okay.
So I made a Technic connection for that landing gear. That's really the only update to the landing gear, I think, except for the wheels. we flip the wheels inside out.
Yeah, which makes them look, gives a super like aircraft look. I mean, I don't know what it's technically called, smooth.
Right, exactly. It's more of a smooth look, and that's really just dodging the use of another tire that isn't really as available anymore.
Sure.
So that's a cool technique that I stole off of Dan's Albatross.
Yeah.
I've been using it ever since because it works really well.
Yeah, it works.
Yeah, different exhaust manifold that I came up with. That's just springing off of what I've done in other models, like the Mustang or the BF-109. Either variant of that, because they're more subtle. They aren't the fan flared out version that was on the N model that I had some printing on. That was a fun technique to use, but I couldn't justify using it in this one because it's such a different exhaust manifold shape.
Okay,
In the
I
older
understand.
variants.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much all the updates there. Of course, the color scheme is different.
Right.
Yeah, I think that about sums up what I've changed on the models. So.
Very, very cool. So that's the Flying Tigers bundle, the P40B and the A6 M2.
Yeah, right.
Both very, very iconic planes, and now available for standalone purchase while supplies last. But the good thing about it, in case you didn't get it on the bundle and probably you missed the individuals, both of these airplanes we are going to be able to bring back.
Correct.
Cool.
Yep.
So they will be restocked. They will return even if you miss out on the initial couple of batches. Well, cool, Cody. Thank you very much for walking me through the updates. It sounds like that P40B especially is quite a fun build. So thanks for walking me through those updates. And hopefully you're lucky enough to get in on the first couple of batches. And yeah, thanks for watching.